Hey everybody, it's Lavender Town, and today I'm taking cute Disney girl characters and I am transforming them into dark, gothic, and edgy character designs that would be more at place in a Tim Burton style movie. So basically, I'm starting with Ariel. I've been on a huge kick of following New Goth fashion, which is like, it's spelled like NU Goth. I'm not sure why, but basically it's just a newer sort of take on gothic fashion from the sort of 90s gothic aesthetic that we're all familiar with. I'm also making her a goth mermaid, which I thought would be really fun. I really love edgy or alternative mermaids that are not just adorable, because I think that there's a lot of interesting visual stuff you can do with that. And so I gave her these big wide fish eyes, and luckily her hair was already really like parted heavily to one side, which is a feature of some goth hairstyles. So I just really leaned into that. I'm also using a lunar motif, which I thought was perfect because that's something that you see a lot in goth fashion, but also it's some, the moon controls the waves in our ocean, so I thought that would be a nice overlap with her character design. I used skulls instead of shells on her shirt. I didn't want to do a skull bra because I thought that would be kind of weird. And I gave her a shark bottom half instead of I'm not actually sure what kind of fish she's supposed to be on the bottom, but now it's a shark. And I gave her gills both on her neck and her hips, which is just weird. And the divide between her human body and her fish body also has shark teeth. I thought this is kind of a really interesting looking mermaid. I also gave her sort of some icy cool color up at the top of her head, and I turned it into sort of an ombre. That's another huge feature of modern goth fashion that I see a lot. And by the end, I thought she looked really cute and a lot darker looking. She looks a lot creepier and just sort of a little more interesting from what we first saw of her. And next up, I'm going to take Judy Hopps because I wanted to break away from just doing princesses this episode or video, and I decided to go with military goth because, as we know, Judy Hopps is a police officer, which is something she takes a lot of pride in. And I thought, what's the creepiest way you could take a police officer uniform? And I thought, well, taking it towards the military and sort of authoritarian looking motifs would be good. And also because military goth is apparently actually a thing, so I looked up some reference pictures of that. I thought a creepy version of Judy Hopps would be some sort of authoritarian sort of figure, and I think she definitely ends up looking like that. Changing her expression like this really doesn't make her look like herself. Judy is such a cheerful, optimistic, high-energy character that when you bring her energy down, she basically looks like a totally different character. But I am trying to make her look as much like herself as I can while still changing pretty much everything about her. I also gave her a lot of sort of big black areas of her outfit just to look really dark and creepy. And I'm going to give her some piercings as well, just to take it more in the fashion direction. I can't imagine what a Zootopia would look like with this as our Judy Hopps, but I feel like it would be very different. Maybe it would be like, maybe she would be the one bullying people in the first act. If you haven't seen Zootopia yet, you definitely should, by the way. It was really, really good. I used red instead of blue as an accent color because blue sort of inspires trust and a calming feeling, whereas red is a powerful and aggressive color, which I thought would be much scarier on a authority figure's outfit. I added the striped socks mainly to make it look more like a fashion piece than an actual uniform of some sort of militarized version of Zootopia, though I do wonder what that would be like. And I used sort of a brushy sort of shading for all of these because I basically just wanted to try it out and I thought it might look interesting with all the fashion. So after I was done with Judy, I went on to Tiana. Now, Tiana was someone I was going to redesign quite a while ago, and then I sort of got burnt out on the Disney redesigns. This is actually the first Disney thing I've done for quite a while. So I knew I had to include her because everyone was asking for her. And I wanted to give her a gothic Lolita outfit because when I looked at her final dress, it reminded me so much of a flower. I think that's very intentional. And I thought it would look beautiful as a gothic Lolita dress. So I decided to turn the flower, instead of a green and yellow dress, into a black and rose colored dress because I thought that would be a lot more gothic Lolita looking. And I decided to give her 2 hair poofs instead of just 1. I thought that that would look very cute. And I just tried to emphasize everything that makes this character adorable because gothic Lolita fashion is probably the cutest version of gothic fashion as far as I'm concerned. And it features a lot of romantic elements like roses, as well as sort of little bits of punk elements like little spikes and things like that every once in a while. But mainly it's a sort of romantic look at gothic, sort of like a Victorian doll looking aesthetic, I would say. And I put little flowers on her top part of her dress and just really tried to make the bottom part of her dress look like an upside down rose, though that part was pretty difficult. A huge hallmark of gothic Lolita fashion is this cupcake shaped skirt, and so I tried to include that, which worked very well. It blended very well back from her ball gown style dress. It's a similar silhouette, it's just cut at the knee instead of at the ankle. She looks really different in this color scheme. I almost wanted to do one where she was back in her original color scheme because she looks so different. And I think I made her look a little too young. But other than that, I was pretty happy with this one. Next up is Snow White, and she is a perfect candidate to be gothified because, of course, in the original story, there's a huge emphasis on her skin being white as snow and her hair being as black as ebony. So that is very close to the classic gothic aesthetic of a very high contrast sort of face to hair ratio. But I wanted to do something a little different with it. Obviously, whenever you do a Disney redesign, there's probably been someone doing it before, because Disney is such a beloved franchise, and especially with a character that has stuck around as much as Snow White. So I wanted to take this in a very modern direction, and so I kind of based her off of like the creepy cute fashions of Harajuku. I also didn't want to only represent one type of like non-Western fashion, so I did Gothic Lolita as well as this sort of creepy cute aesthetic that we see a lot from Japan. And so I gave her these little eyeball earrings that sort of remind me of Kari Pamu Pamu, and I tried to use the poison apple as a huge feature of this design. So I brought in that green poison color that was from the film, and then for the rest of the color I just used the apple red that we see in little bits of her outfit, as well as, of course, in the apple that she eats. I also decided to switch the shading layer to a hard light instead of multiply, which makes it even more colorful and really makes this one stand out as the brightest of all the gothic outfits that I'll do today. So lastly, I'm going to be doing Minnie Mouse as our final girl, and I'm going to be taking her retro design mainly to inspire this more edgy punk and goth outfit. So first I had to take a look at her proportions. She has this very pear-shaped sort of body, and her skirt's always flipping up rather flirtatiously, so that's kind of interesting. So I had to make both bloomers and sort of a dress sort of t-shirt kind of thing on top. And I gave her a lot of punk elements in this one because I felt like I was leaning too hard on just goth aesthetics. She ended up looking way creepy. I don't know if it's because of the retro design combined with all this modern stuff, but yeah, I gave her pentagram earrings, and I also gave her, she has like a little flower pot hat in her original design, so I put a Venus flytrap there instead. I also made her gloves into the fingerless fishnet gloves that you see sometimes in Hot Topics and that kind of thing. And I gave her fishnet thigh highs and tall boots with spikes, and just really tried to commit to a hardcore creepy aesthetic. It looks extra creepy because she has such a childish vintage original design, so it looks really strange. I ended up liking this one a lot because it's so weird. I also gave her the black and white stripes because that's such an iconic part of alternative fashion, at least from back when I was a little kid and first like learning about fashion, I guess. And I gave her a little beauty mark and just shaded with a slate blue. I wanted everything to be sort of black and white other than her hat to really sell the old-fashioned look of this one. I think it's safe to say that after this video, Disney would never let me near any of their original properties again. But I hope you liked it. Thank you so much for staying till the end of the video. I hope this one was okay. It might be a little less polished than usual. I'm making it in a hotel room and I'm traveling right now. If you see me, I'm in the San Francisco area right now. So yeah, if you see me out on the streets, feel free to say hi. And I'll see you guys next video. Big thank you to my patrons including Blep, Gaia Masqueo, Scott Peterson, Weeb, Miss Misu, BB Dave, Cat, Christy Stewart, Paynamel, Elizabeth Alban, Calpompon, The Sweet 12, Aaron Sawicki, Super Pixel, Taka, Elizabeth Spooky, Lovely, Lachlan MD, Mystic, Enzo Jobert, Yo Boy ST, JJ Jade, Laura Buter, and Audiovisual. Thank you guys so much.